Hello, thanks for coming today. It's good to see you. If you're joining us on YouTube, thanks for watching. If you're joining us to go to webinar, also thanks for watching. It's good to have you here. If you are watching us on YouTube, if you take a minute and like and subscribe, it does help a good deal, a great deal. We appreciate it, and it does help us allow to kind of keep putting out videos and grow the audience and getting better guests and all of that kind of good stuff. So my agreement with you is if you'll just hit the like, the subscribe, we do definitely appreciate it, and it definitely helps. So there you go. My name is Jeff Gibby. I'm going to be introducing our guest today. I'm going to also be reading a legal disclaimer to keep the lawyers happy. Let's go ahead and get started with that. So today's demonstration is designed to instruct you on using Metastock and the accompanying software plugins. It is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting using specific indicators of features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. Metastock and its employees shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of the software, trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. Metastock and its employees do not endorse the purchase of any security, nor are they paid for the promotion of any security. No information contained in the presentation today should be construed as investment advice or the solicitation to buy a security. So I hope you're doing everybody's doing well. If you have questions as we go, feel free to type them into the chat box or into the question box, and we'll be going through them and taking a look at them, and we'll do our best to answer all the questions. Our guest today is Jeff Tompkins. Jeff's a good friend of Metastock, a good friend of mine. Also has a very, very cool first name. Jeff has been working with Metastock. It's probably about 8 years now. When we started working with him, he had taught a lot of people how to trade through a website called udemy.com. Very, very good at kind of doing trading and training people how to trade. In the time I've known him, he started up his own hedge fund. He does a lot of money management, and he just keeps blowing up. We really, really appreciate him being with us today. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to him right now. Hey, Jeff, how are you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm good. Let me go ahead and make you the presenter. I'll make sure we can see everything before I kind of get out of the way, so to speak. I can hear you, and I can see your screen. So let's see. I'm here if you need anything.
Okay, great.
And it's your turn. Go.
All right. Well, good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Maybe give us a hello or a greeting in the chat. I will be saving plenty of time for questions, but just ask that you hold your questions to the end. I want to make sure that we get through all the good stuff. Hey, from Texas, Greg from Texas. All right. So I'm in Boise, Idaho, and so I'm in it's still morning here, but I'm sure we have people from all over the world. So great to have you guys all here. We'll be talking about price action pivots. And so I'm going to be revealing a highly effective strategy for forecasting trend direction and specifically trend reversal. So this can help you get into directional trends early on. You're going to walk away with an actionable strategy and a new tool for your trading arsenal. So by the end of our session, you're going to discover how to use price action pivots to spot turning points in the markets. And this valuable information can be used to forecast market trends before they occur. So this is entirely based on price action. There's no lagging component. We're not going to be using any lagging indicators. And whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned veteran, this is must-have information for today's markets. This is, again, very valuable information for navigating volatile markets. Of course, we're in the midst of heavy volatility. So this is timely information. I know Jeff went through a disclaimer with you, but I'll cover our disclaimer as well real quick. Trading securities and options, of course, involves risk. Prior to buying or selling an option, an investor must receive a copy of characteristics and risks of standardized options, and of course need a broker to trade securities and options and must meet suitability requirements. Any results that I share on the session and any past results are not necessarily indicative of future performance. while they might be based on actual trades or hypothetical results. But due to the time-critical nature of trading, brokerage fees, activity of other traders, there's no guarantee that anyone will mirror the performance of anything I share on our session today. All right, so Jeff did a nice job giving a little background on myself, but I'll just elaborate a little bit. Again, I'm Jeff Tompkins. Great to have all of you here on the session today. I have over 2 decades of experience trading the stock, options, and futures markets. I received my professional training as an intern at the trade desk at Morgan Stanley back in the early 2000s. And about 10 years ago, in fact, we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary, hard to believe, I founded Altos Trading, where I'm the chief investment strategist. We've rapidly grown to over 60,000 members in over 100 countries across the globe. As Jeff mentioned, I'm also a hedge fund manager, so I do manage money for my clients at Altos Capital. And in fact, the strategies and methodologies I'll be sharing on the session today are those that I use inside my hedge fund, and really credit for the long-term success we've had. We, since launching the fund, have never had a negative year, and I've traded through some pretty turbulent market conditions, including the Corona crash back in early 2020, the bear market of 2022. So really excited to share some of the things that we use at Altos Capital, and again, credit to the success of the fund. I'm also the developer of the price action pivot indicator, which we'll be sharing with you on the session today as well. So let's dig into price action pivots and how to forecast trend direction in advance. So again, this is entirely based on price action. We're going to throw all the lagging indicators out the window, and this is really your definitive guide to identifying trend reversals. All right, so there's a few things we need to know, right, when we make trading decisions. You know, at the core of those decisions is, when do we buy, when do we sell, and when do we stay out of the market? Okay, there's a reason, you know, we trade versus just being a buy and hold investor, right? We're making an attempt to accurately forecast in time directional trends, right? And so we don't want to always have market exposure, right? That's kind of the edge that we look for in trading, is when do we stay out of the market when you know, conditions aren't favorable. So the price action pivot methodology will help with that. So you're going to discover how and why periodicity highs and lows provide crucial trend and reversal forecasts. Okay, so this is fractal in nature. It can be applied to any asset. It can be applied to any time frame. It's one of the common questions we get, right? Does this work on a 1-minute chart, a 5-minute chart, a daily chart? So the beauty of this is that the time frame really is irrelevant. You're going to discover how to identify when markets are likely to reverse trend. Okay, this is critical information to have, especially when we're in volatile market conditions, right? Things can change very rapidly, and there is always that situation where you get into a trade that might be, you know, working out in your favor, and then, you know, things turn around on you. So you're going to, again, with price action pivots, reliably know when that might occur. I'll show you how to identify key supply and demand points. So like any market, right, the financial markets, the stock market are really at the core based on supply and demand, right? So it's buying and selling pressure. And again, price action pivots can help us identify those supply and demand points and when that supply demand curve is likely to shift. And also how to set accurate entry, stop loss, and take profit levels, right? So this methodology also helps you identify exactly where to get into the market, where to define your risk, and where to take profits. So as markets trends prepare to reverse course, right, there's a shift in supply and demand, and the candlesticks on your chart can actually give us clues to future directional movement. So we're going to be using a 5 candlestick pattern, and I say minimum because there are some circumstances where it might exceed a 5 candlestick pattern. I'll walk you through that and show you some examples. We're going to do this to identify when trend changes are likely to occur. And once this pattern is completed, we'll have a blueprint for forecasting directional trend. So there's no really discretion involved here. There's no guessing when the trend is likely to reverse, where to get in, where to get out. Okay, this is based on very well-defined rules. So we're going to start to dig into those. Okay. Now the nice thing is price action pivots only require a basic candlestick or OHLC chart, so open, high, low, close. Okay, so you just need a very basic chart. And what we're going to be doing is tracking changes in candlestick highs for short setups and candlestick lows for long setups over 5 candlesticks. So again, regardless of the time frame, right? It could be a 1-minute chart. So we're tracking over a period of about 5 minutes. It could be a daily chart. So over the period of about 5 days. All right. Now, price action pivots can predict market shifts, and we're going to dig into some charts here momentarily. But I think you'll be astounded with the accuracy and reliability. And it can be applied on any retail trading or charting platform, and it can pinpoint turning points in a security with astounding accuracy. All right. So again, any asset class, whether it's equities, ETFs, futures, forex, even cryptocurrencies, okay, in any time frame. Okay, so if you're a day trader, if you're a swing trader, or a position trader, that's perfectly fine. Okay. All right, so we're going to hop over to some charts, and I'm going to walk you through the methodology, and we'll look at some actual examples on a live chart. So let's go ahead and hop on over to the Metastock platform. And I'm just going to start with a basic chart of this, the S&P 500 ETF, the SPY. Okay, so I've just got a basic candlestick chart, and let me get my drawing tool up here. And there's been some great examples recently that we can take a look at. In fact, we'll start with a bearish price action pivot in the recent market sell-off, and how this could have actually helped you identify the recent leg lower in the S&Ps following the all-time high that we just put in back in February. All right, so let me actually zoom in here real quick so we can see this a little bit better. And by the way, if you guys have any trouble seeing anything, just let me know in the chat, and I'll see what I can do to help you. Okay, so we're going to start up here with a bearish price action pivot. Okay, so back in February, S&P's put in an all-time high. All right, and prior to that, we were kind of in this range from about the middle of January into around the 3rd week of February. Okay, so leading up to this all-time high in the S&Ps, what do we notice? Okay, we notice that we are putting in a series of let me change the pen color so we can see that a little bit better. There we go. A series of higher highs and higher lows, right? All right. And the pivot that we're going to look at occurred on February 19th. Okay, so on the next trading day, which was February 20th, something changes, right? There's a major shift, and that is that we put in a lower high. Okay. On the next trading day, we put in another lower high. So for a bearish price action pivot, we are tracking the highs. So what needs to occur prior to a confirmed bearish pivot is we need to have a series of consecutive higher highs, right? In other words, a prior uptrend. Where we want to start paying attention is, again, on the 20th here, where we put in a lower high. Okay, so when this occurs, we're going to start our candlestick count. So we're going to go back, okay, and I mentioned previously that this is a 5 candlestick pattern. So we're going to start here and start our candlestick count. So this is candlestick 1. This is candlestick 2. This is our potential pivot candle. Okay, we don't yet know that this is a bearish pivot because what we need is 2 lower highs to the right of the potential pivot. So again, this is just generally call this the day everything changed, right? So we've put in a lower high. This is now our potential pivot. So what we need is a final lower high to the right of the potential pivot. Sure enough, we put that in on the next session. Okay, and we now have a confirmed bearish pivot. So again, the rules are 2 lower highs to the left of the pivot candle, 2 lower highs to the right. And then of course, including the pivot candle, we now have a 5 candlestick bearish pivot pattern. Okay, so we're purely using price action here. We're not using any lagging information. And so what do we do with this? How do we trade off of this? Well, I'll give you the rules. So let me clear this out here so it's not so messy. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this 5 candlestick pattern. Just gonna block this in here. Okay. And we're gonna notate the low in the pattern. Okay, that could be, it could be to the left of the pivot candle. It could be to the right. In this case, it's to the right of the pivot candle. So the low in the pattern is right about there. All right. So if we want to take, a bearish trade off of this bearish price action pivot, we would place our entry just below the low of the lowest candle in the 5 candlestick pattern. Okay. And here's where we use what we'd call a sell stop order. And typically I'll just use, I'll show you how you can do this precisely here shortly, but I generally would just eyeball this and, you can go a few ticks below the low of the candle. So that would be our entry. Now, once we've identified the pattern and our entry, we define our risk. So I'll typically put my stop and define my risk using the high of the pivot candle. Okay, so our stop could go up here. Now, hopefully you're kind of starting to see these all over the place, and you can see the reliability. But because of the reliability of these, and I've done a lot of research on this in terms of defining risk versus reward, I'll typically use a 1-to-1. So the difference between my entry level and my stop will be my profit target. So I'm just obviously roughly eyeballing this here. Okay, so my profit target's going to be somewhere down here. All right. Another technique I like to use is to scale out of the position. So if I were to take a short position on this bearish price action pivot, I could, for instance, unwind half of the position at my initial profit target level. Again, that's a 1-to-1. And leave the remaining half on for a runner. And that can be managed with a trailing stop, or there's kind of some different techniques you can use there. All right, so that's a bearish price action pivot. Now the rules for a bullish price action pivot are just the opposite. So instead of tracking the candlestick highs like we did with the bearish price action pivot, we'll be tracking the candlestick lows. So let's go back here and use this one. Right, so S&Ps have been in an uptrend for a period of time here, kind of went into some sideways consolidation, then began to rotate lower. Okay, so we want to be taking note of the price action in the candlestick highs. I'm sorry, lows. Okay, so just the opposite of a bearish price action pivot, right? Where we're tracking highs, now we're tracking lows. So we're putting in a series of lower lows. So what we want to be looking for is a shift in supply and demand, right? So there was excess supply that caused selling pressure, which we know will, the way supply demand curves work, will eventually shift, and that will attract buyers and create demand. Okay, this is actually a good example of where we may exceed a 5 candlestick pattern. So I'll point this out here. All right, so we've made a series of lower lows, and then the supply demand curve starts to shift, right? Everything changes. We put in a higher low. Now, in this case, we didn't put in a higher high. So we have what's called an inside candle, right? The high-low range resides within the high-low range of the prior candle. So with the price action pivot methodology, we actually ignore the inside candles. Okay, so we're going to ignore that one. We actually had another inside candle here, so we are going to ignore that one. Okay. On the following day, we put in a higher low, and we've breached the high of the potential pivot. Remember, at this point in time, this is just a potential pivot candle. Okay, so now we started the candlestick count, right? So this is our candlestick 1, this is our candlestick 2. So 2 higher lows to the left of the pivot candle. This will be candlestick 4. We have our potential pivot. We need 1 more higher low to the right. There it is. And we now have a confirmed, sorry, it's a little messy, bullish price action pivot. Okay. So where would our entry be? Well, we're going to take the high of the candle in the completed bullish price action pivot pattern. Okay, that'll be, in this case, candle number 5. So remember, we've ignored the inside candles. So our entry is going to be above the high of candlestick number 5. We define our risk with a stop below the, it's now a confirmed pivot. Okay, this is our confirmed pivot candle. Entry stop. Okay, we determine our risk, which will be our entry level minus the stop level. All right, and then we define our reward. So we're going to take roughly equidistant price level for our profit target. Here's another beautiful bullish price action pivot. Clear this out. Now, how does this help you stay out of the market? Well, not every pivot will follow through, right? So there may be some examples of pivots that that don't actually follow through to the entry price level. So then we just ignore those and wait for the next pivot. Okay, here's an example, right? Here is a valid, and again, we're going to ignore inside candles. Bearish pivot, we had a series of lower highs to the left. And here's a great example too of another rule. In the case of a bearish pivot, the lower highs don't have to be consecutive. So this was a confirmed bearish pivot. Here was our confirmed pivot candle. Okay, we have lower highs to the left. This would be candle 1. We ignore the inside candle. Candle 2, candle 4. Candle 5's high was higher than candlestick 4, and that's fine. We just need it to be lower than the potential pivot candle. So this was also a confirmed bearish pivot. We take the low of the candlestick in the pattern, that'll be down here. Okay. but we didn't follow through. Okay, so this was, while it was a confirmed bearish pivot, there's no entry, because shortly thereafter, right, we put in a confirmed bearish or a bullish pivot, okay, to higher lows to the left. So this would actually be a bullish pivot candle to higher lows to the right. Okay, and there's our move. Erase these. All right. Now, I used to do this all manually, right? So there's some legwork involved. Right? You gotta be paying attention, obviously, to the price action, the highs and lows of the candlesticks, depending on whether you're looking for bullish or bearish setups. So there's some counting involved in tracking. So what we've decided to do, and again, I've done this for many years manually, is to really automate all this with an indicator. So we've developed an add-on for Metastock that does all of this legwork for you. And this is the price action pivot indicator add-on for Metastock. And what it will do is track all of this price action and give you very simple to read buy and sell pivots. And this is what it looks like. So it cuts down tremendously on the legwork, the time involved. And you can imagine, you know, most people don't trade just one asset, right? Most of us trade, you know, we might have a basket of stocks that we like to trade, or we may be trading multiple asset classes, other markets. So that can become challenging trying to track all that, right? It'd be very time consuming. So the price action pivot add-on does all of this for you. And so I'll kind of walk you through the symbology here. And here's actually, we can look at this recent bearish pivot from February on the SPY that we just walked through, right? So first, it's going to give you a short setup warning in the case of this bearish price action pivot. Okay, so this one, again, came on February 21st. All right, so the sideways or kind of diagonal down red arrow is going to be your short setup. So that's your kind of forecasted warning, right? Of if I want to take a bearish position off of this bearish price action pivot, I know that I need to get ready to place a trade. If we get follow through into the entry, and I'll show you this momentarily, but the algorithm will actually calculate the appropriate entry for you as well. So you're not, you know, having to guess where do I place my sell stop order in the case of a bearish price action pivot, or where do I, you know, place my buy stop order for a bullish price action pivot. Okay, it's going to give you the exact price, and then you'll notice if we get follow through into that entry, you're going to have a confirmed short entry arrow. Okay, so this is the candle where we actually would get filled. Okay, the algorithm's also going to calculate your stop loss levels and your profit target levels. Okay, and you can see in the case of this bearish price action pivot, right? We hit our profit target on February 28th, and it's a little hard to see, but this is the exit. Okay, and I'll show you here in just a second how you can get all of the exact price level information for these. Okay, we're actually in the midst of a bullish price action pivot at the moment. Okay, on this recent rebound. All right, so what's really cool here is that if you go over to expert commentary, okay, this is going to give you all of the exact information to make trading decisions from. So all of your price levels, so your entry, your stop, your profit target levels. So like if I go back here to February 21st, right? the commentary is going to tell us that there's a new potential short position. Okay, there's a bearish price action pivot. It's going to give you the exact price level that you should enter if you decide to place a trade off of this. It's also going to give you the projected profit target. If there's not follow through, okay, it gives you the price where you should ignore the setup. And again, the setups are negated by an opposing setup. So if we have a bearish price action pivot, it does not trigger, then, and there's it's followed by a bullish price action pivot, right? That negates it. Okay. So the expert commentary will give you all of the price levels, the entry, the stop loss, and the profit target. And if you get a trigger, okay, let me clear this out. Okay, you can kind of fast forward here. It's going to continue to track the position and keep you updated until a new opposing signal occurs. Okay, so that's all spelled out in the commentary. And again, the algorithm uses basically average true range, and it gauges the volatility to give you an appropriate entry, stop, and profit target level. Okay, so that's all in the commentary. Now you'll also notice at the top of your chart, you have a trade status feature. This is really cool. So this helps you visualize whether we're in a bullish or bearish pivot conditions. Okay, so this is a nice visualization. And it also kind of helps you determine when to not be in a trade, right? So if you don't see any bullish or bearish pivot conditions, then we're not in an appropriate environment to place a trade. All right, so this is the trade status. Now, I also want to share the scanner. So the scanner is what's going to allow you to find these setups across whatever market you're interested in trading. I have some kind of personalized watch list that I've set up in Metastock, like my weekly options list. So these are all equities ETFs that have weekly options on them. But the Metastock platform allows you to scan in a multitude of different markets. So you can obviously set up your own customized scans and select what market you want to scan in. And so the scanner will allow you to kind of hone in on whether you want to look for long setups, short setups, or both. Okay, some people may not want to short a stock, right? So you can just focus on long entries. And then it also breaks it down by a pending entry or setup. All right, so this, if you want to just scan for opportunities that have been a confirmed bullish or bearish pivot, but have not yet reached the entry price level, right? You can just look for long setups. You can also scan for actual triggered entries, or you can do both. Okay, so, if I just want to look for long setups, okay, I can go ahead and start my exploration. And it's going to run through all of your, whatever, market you're scanning in, and give you all of the buy opportunities within that scan. Let's see if there's any that come up here. So it looks like we didn't get any in this in the weekly options for now, and I'm just scanning in the daily chart. But of course you can, or daily time frame. But of course you can scan intraday as well. Jeff, did I miss anything as it relates to the the exploration feature?
No. That does a pretty good job of talking about it.
Yeah, so this is where you'll find all of the, your charting. Okay, so again, this is all built into MetaStock. Okay, so you'll find the price action pivot add-on. You can add it to any chart. And again, you can run your scans under the Explore tab. You can also run system tests, so you can actually back test the strategy as well. Okay, on any asset class, any time frame. Let's see if I missed anything here. Let's actually bump down into an intraday chart. To show you what this looks like intraday. Yes, I just went down into a 30-minute chart. Okay, and so you can see all of the pivots, and you can see the incredible accuracy, right, of identifying these shifts in supply and demand. Okay, you can do this on a 5-minute chart. So let's, now that we've walked through this, let's talk about how you can get the indicator for yourself on MetaStock. Okay, so again, we just recently launched price action pivots for the MetaStock platform. And I'll kind of walk you through how you can get this for yourself. And we're going to throw a lot of other really cool stuff into the package that comes along with the price action pivot add-on for MetaStock. So again, you get the indicator, which gives you accurate buy and sell signals. There's zero lag. So we've thrown all the lagging component out the window, right? We're not using any lagging indicators like a MACD, a stochastic, and RSI, right? And we've developed this proprietary algorithm. It reads the market in real time. Okay, it's going to give you exact entry, profit target, and stop loss levels. It can help you forecast short-term and long-term trends with astounding accuracy, if we just looked at on the charts. It can be applied to any asset class, equities, ETFs, futures, forex. It also comes with the powerful scanner that allows you to scan at the click of a mouse, right? Within seconds, you can have your whole list of opportunities, whether those are bullish or bearish setups on any time frame. I love using this indicator for my options trade. So I do a lot of options trading. And for any of you who trade directional option strategy, right, that's a very time critical, there's time critical factors involved. If you are buying calls or puts, right, you've got to be right on your timing. And the price action pivot indicator I've found has really helped me time my directional option strategy. So I love using this with my options trades. It does not repaint, right? So typically you'll see repainting, and what that means is, the signal on the chart can change after the fact. You'll typically see that with lagging indicators, right? So this is all purely based on price action, so it's not going to repaint and change on you, right? It has built-in protection to avoid whipsaws, as you saw there on the chart, right? It also tells you when to stay out of the market, not to be in a trade. Okay, it helps you capture most of the trend before it reverses. It's designed to limit losses and let your profits run. It can also be used with any other indicator system for added confirmation. Okay, so I found it works great as a standalone, but I also love using it alongside other indicators that we use. We have an indicator called Trade Trend, which is an add-on for MetaStock. Love using this alongside Trade Trend. okay, and ultimately remove the guesswork, right, from your trades. All right, so I'm going to walk you through the package. There's a whole lot more that comes with the indicator. So you're going to get 12 months of the price action pivot premium signals on Metastock, which normally retails for $14.99, but you're also going to get live strategy sessions. So we hold these every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we walk through different strategies. First, we start out with a general market overview, and then we'll hone in on a specific strategy, kind of like we did today with the price action pivots. And we do this on a weekly basis. I host these, and you're gonna have access to those as well. Okay, so I'm there to help coach you on a weekly basis. Typically my personal coaching starts at $19.97 and goes up from there, but you'll have direct access to me on a weekly basis. We'll be doing a lot with price action pivots and other strategies as well. You're also going to get exclusive invitation-only Facebook group access to our private Facebook group of over 800 members. We're going to throw in additional training. So this is our online professional trading series course that walks through our top strategies and tools that we use in stocks, ETFs, currencies, futures. We cover it all. It's over 10 hours of online content. You can watch it at your leisure. That's going to come alongside the price action pivot add-on for Metastock, and ultimately learn to trade equities, futures, forex options with consistency. That's what we really strive to do at Altos. We have a lot of strategies in our toolbox, different indicators and tools that we use, and they're all really built around the idea of consistency. That's what we strive for, and this package is really built to help you become a more consistent, confident trader. We're going to throw in a couple bonuses here. So bonus number one, we developed a 2-day workshop specifically focused on the price action pivot setup. So this is a pre-recorded workshop. So you're going to get immediate access to this, and you can watch it online. Day one, we walk through a ton of examples of the price action pivot setup. We look at different time frames, different assets in the live markets, and you're really going to dig in deep and get a probably 10 years worth of experience in a single day. Okay, just watching day one of the workshop. Then on day two, I trade the setup live in the markets. Okay, and you can watch me actually make money in the live markets using the price action pivot setup. Okay, so this is bonus number one in the package. Bonus number two is my latest ebook, How to Create Risk-Free Trades. This is an ebook built around money management tactics that help you mitigate risk and even in some cases eliminate it from your trades. So I think a great supplement to the price action pivot indicator, and will be bonus number two in the package. So the total retail value in this exclusive package for the price action pivot add-on for Metastock is over $5,000. We are knocking 80% off for today. Okay, so you get everything that you see in this package, including an entire year of the price action pivot indicator on Metastock for only $9.97. So it literally breaks down to less than a few bucks a day. We are going to limit this to 25 seats, okay, at the discount. You can still get any of these things once those 25 seats are scooped up, but after they are gone, this will revert back to the retail pricing, okay? So if you want the 80% discount, you can go to metastock.com/PAP for price action pivot. And I think Jeff and the team will put that in the chat for you, so you can literally just click right out of there and scoop up one of those 25 seats at the 80% discount. And we do have a guarantee. So if you're not convinced that this is the right indicator for you, we do offer a full 30-day money-back guarantee. Okay, so you'll have plenty of time to try out the indicator and see how it works for you, right? So we want to give you ample time to do that. We're confident that it's going to be a very valuable addition to your trading arsenal. So once again, metastock.com/PAP, and then we'll be setting you up in our members area for all of the other goodies in the package, including the bonuses. So again, you're going to get immediate access to the price action pivot workshop. Again, that's a 2-day workshop. It's recorded and will be available to you in the members area. You'll also find the ebook how to create risk-free trades in your members area as well. We get thousands and thousands of testimonials, right, on a regular basis from our members who use our indicators, including the price action pivot indicator. And I want you to be one of our next success stories. So once you're up and running with the indicator, let me know how it's working for you. Write in, send me a message, maybe share some trade examples. That'd be great. All right. So again, metastock.com/price action pivot. And now I'm going to go ahead and open it up to questions. So if you guys have any questions about Metastock, about the add-on for Metastock, about the price action pivot strategy, go ahead and fire away. You can put those in the Q&A box, and I'll be happy to answer those.
All right, I have one from YouTube already.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I'm not able to see the YouTube questions, so.
Deborah wants to know, does this work with Bitcoin? We also get a lot of questions about other markets too, so it might be a good time to talk about Bitcoin in particular, but other markets in general as well.
Yeah, so absolutely. So it due to the nature of the methodology, right, it's going to work on any asset, right? Whether it's Bitcoin, whether it's a forex pair, the euro dollar, whether it's a stock, right, an ETF, the methodology remains the same, right? There's always shifts in trends, right? And the indicator will help you spot those supply demand points. So, and maybe here momentarily, I can pass it back over to Jeff, and Jeff can kind of share some charts on his side, and maybe we can show you on a Bitcoin as well. But yeah, absolutely. So any time frame, any asset class. Any other questions on the YouTube side?
No. I was actually reading one out by Scott, but my mic was off. So Scott says, I also have TradeTrend as well. Do you have any particular tips on using them together? TradeTrend and price action.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I love using TradeTrend and the price action pivot indicator in conjunction. So my tip is I like to look obviously for signals that coincide with each other. So they don't have to occur right at the same time. But I like to look for signals that, again, coincide, that are relatively close together. So you might get a trade trend buy signal first, confirmed by a bullish price action pivot. Or you might get the bullish price action pivot first, followed by the trade trend buy signal. So I like to look for those, occurring relatively close together. Same thing with a bearish setup, sell signal, in the context of a bearish price action pivot. So I think they're, occasionally you'll have a trade trend signal without confirmed pivot. Maybe I want to ignore those. Or maybe you'll get a pivot without a trade trend buy or sell signal, and maybe you want to ignore those. So I've found that the signals that coincide with each other are your really kind of bread and butter. So yeah.
Also asks, do you have any recommendations for a particular time frame?
Again, I think that's really just a personal question, depending on your trading style, your personal trading style. I've used the strategy across various time frames. I don't do a whole lot of intraday trading, so most of my trading I do off of the daily time frame. But really, the time frame shouldn't matter in terms of the accuracy of the signal. It just really matters, again, in terms of personal preference, how long your market exposure, how long do you want to be in the trade. You're generally going to get more signals on the lower time frames, right? You're going to have probably more signals that you're going to get on a 5-minute chart that you're going to get on a 4-hour chart or a daily chart. So again, just really more personal preference.
Perfect. I pulled up a chart of Bitcoin. Do you want me to kind of share it?
Yeah, pass the screen.
Right. Sounds good. Let me actually also have a result of some scans I wanted to kind of talk about as well. Let me go ahead and just pull it out right here real quick. Make presenter. Let's make sure we're sharing the right screen. All right. Can you see that? Jeff?
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So right here, one of the things that you might I like this particularly too. I'm going to just show you how to do it real quick. I'm going to take the moving average off of here, but right here is where kind of where the pivot is. But if you want to be able to visualize where those are a little bit, you can turn on a little bit of a marker that's off by default. And I'm just going to turn it on real quick. I'm going to go to Expert Advisor right here. Go to Properties. It'll ask for a password, but I don't need the password. I just like to see where the actual pivots come in. And so if you're like that too, you can just turn these two on, and you'll be able to see those on the chart as well once you refresh. So, but here's a chart of kind of where Bitcoin came in. Now I've added the pivot so you can see where they're at. They're just annotated by a diamond on the chart. Any particular comments on this particular chart, Jeff?
Let's see, we're on a daily chart. Maybe go down into an intraday.
Okay.
I know Bitcoin's a volatile area. Maybe we go down to.
Do you want hourly? Do you want 5 minute? What do you want?
Let's do maybe a 5 minute chart. See what it looks like.
Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit just to kind of get it rid of. So
you can see. Yeah, you can see you get quite a bit more signals. But again, on your volatile stocks, it's going to probably give you more pivot signals. And maybe scroll to the left a little bit. Looks like right now Bitcoin's pretty flat. It's kind of consolidating.
Sure.
You can kind of look for more trend direction. Yeah. So that's.
Is that good?
Looks like, yeah, it looks good. So you can see, yeah, it obviously in this kind of screenshot, there's an uptrend, right? So what I like to look for is focus on more is the bullish, right? The bullish pivots when there's a well-defined uptrend, but you can take counter trend trades as well. You can see that there are opportunities to short in the context of this uptrend.
Right here's a pretty good example of one that would have worked pretty good on a short, or on a reversion to the mean type of a trade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, Richard wants to clarify: do you do a 1-to-1 ratio on an intraday and a 2-to-1 on a daily?
So the indicator is defaulted to a 1-to-1 regardless of the time frame. But that's certainly up to, again, up the kind of personal preference, up to you. What I like to do, as I mentioned, is I'll typically scale out of a position. So I'll take profits if that initial profit target, the 1-to-1, on half the position. Because a lot of these pivots, as you can see, will continue to run and even hit a 2-to-1. So I'll typically scale out of half the position, the initial profit target. Again, that's the 1-to-1 risk reward. And then I'll maybe exit the second half of the position at a 2-to-1. And when we hit that initial profit target level, adjust my stop from, in the case of a bullish pivot, which was below the pivot candle, adjust that to the entry price level. So I essentially have a risk-free trade on the second half of that position.
Very cool. I did. I also I think you might have had a little bit of a problem with your scan, and I was kind of dealing with something real quick. But I did actually pull up a little bit of a scan on the S&P 500, and we can kind of talk a little bit about kind of what's scannable and kind of how the report looks and that kind of stuff. What we've got here, these are the different scans that I ran. I ran it again against the whole S&P 500 for right now during the day. Okay, so on a daily basis, but it's looking at the current bar. And so here we got the long entries, the setups, the short entries, and the short setups. There were some results on all of them, but what I really like is it'll give you the close price. So where you're at right now, what your entry price was, your target, and then your initial stop. So you can kind of take a look at that and evaluate, hey, before I even look at the chart, where that's going. So I just love how well this is kind of put together. I really also like this indicator that was put together to kind of help you keep track of the trade status on a chart as well. So in any case, I think it's a very, very cool little add-on. And it comes with so much really good training with it. Jeff, I think what I'm going to do is just kind of reiterate what's in the offer and just show people how to get it as well.
Sounds great.
Okay. Unless you have anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, I think I've covered it. Unless there are any other questions I can answer, yeah, you take it away.
Okay.
And and you can kind of go through everything else.
Sounds good. Let me go ahead and go back in here. Here is that trade status indicator as well. It'll kind of give you an idea of exactly where you're at in the trade, whether it's a setup. Right here, you've got a setup. This is an exit for your short position, and then you're in a long trade when this turns solid as a green. So this trade status indicator actually looks really, really cool, but it's also really helpful with this particular setup and the way that it can kind of look. With the scans, I just showed those to you. I love scanning in Metastock. I do it usually at least once a day, sometimes twice, sometimes even 3 times a day, depending on kind of like how much time I have, which usually means it's once or twice a day. So, but you can scan for entries. You can just make a list of the setups if you want, and you can do that for the long and the shorts. And that's very, very well integrated. I think with Metastock, one of the things you get is one of the best scanners that are out there. You can use it to scan against the US stocks, the European stocks, the futures, whatever you want. You can scan just in about anything you want in Metastock. Does a really, really good job with it too. Jeff did a really good job of talking about the expert advisor. I love the expert advisor. It's kind of like having Jeff over your shoulder to give you real-time buy-sell signals, clear definitions of what's going on, entry and exits, stop losses, and as Jeff said, every day that's going to update, give you new values. And you can also set it up so it'll give you real-time intraday alerts. If you're away from your desk and you want it to kind of let you know something's going on, you can do that as well. So we are doing a special bootcamp session. It's not Friday. It's a week from Friday. It's April 4th. If you can believe we're almost in April already. I can't. But next Friday, on April 4th at noon Eastern, we're going to do a special bootcamp session that we're going to record. Jeff Tompkins is going to do a part on how to kind of look at the price action pivots, give trade examples, go through kind of a lot of scenarios on how to use it. When he's done, I'm going to probably spend about 30 or 45 minutes just kind of talking about how to set up lists, how to run scans, how to kind of do everything that you need to do to kind of get your chart set up the way you want them and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do that again a week from Friday, April 4th. We're going to do it at noon Eastern time, and it's free to join as long as you're a member or as long as you subscribe to the price action pivots. So I definitely want to do it before then. In terms of the special launch offer, there's tons of stuff that's actually included with this. You get 12 months of the price action pivots by itself. That would be normally $1,500. The live trading sessions, the personal coaching, the bootcamp live training that we're doing next Friday, exclusive Facebook group access to Jeff's Facebook group, the professional trading series online course, the how to trade stocks, futures, forex, and options consistently, and then the 2 bonuses, the pivot 2-day training workshop and the risk-free trades ebook. Those are all included. Normally the value I have on this is $66.36. As a launch price, you're going to get basically $9.97. You can do that at metastock.com/PAP, which I'm going to put right here in the chat again. If you have questions, if you want to look at some examples, you can give us a call. Our sales guys will be happy to answer any questions. We just did a whole bunch of training on it. We just finished up this morning. So it's hot, nice, and fresh. You can give them a call, 800-882-3040. And you can also go to metastock.com/saleschat as well. So all of those are ways you can kind of take a look at it, looking to see if we have any other questions. We don't. So I do want to say thank you to Jeff. Jeff's been such a great partner of Metastock over the course of the last, we released his first trade trend product, I believe it was about 7 or 8 years ago, and it's been very, very successful. I love this one. I love the look and feel of it. Love the fact that it has all the integrations and just such a great offer. Metastock.com/PAP. If you have any questions, if you want to talk to us, 800-882-3040, metastock.com/saleschat. So thank you for coming, Jeff. Thank you for everything. For those of you that are watching the video, thanks for being here today. If you have any questions for us, feel free to reach out. If you haven't yet, make sure to like and subscribe. It helps a great deal. Appreciate your being here, and I look forward to seeing you again at the next one. Thanks for coming.